Did you know that in KCD2 you can whip out a torch before brewing potions or playing dice, especially at night, and it will drastically improve your ability to actually see what's going on? Well, now you do. That's just one of the more obscure things I have for you today. We'll work our way up from the small quality of life changes to tips that completely change the way that you play the game. First, finding mud needs to be a priority. I know there's a quest related to this, but I see way too many people put this off and wonder why the game is hard. Not only is mud very useful during combat to distract enemies, he can also help you track people, make a disturbance if you're sneaking around where you shouldn't, and also hunt for you. But the distracting enemies part is especially relevant because in the first few hours of the game, combat is often the hardest hurdle to overcome. Speaking of trusty companions, many players might feel the need to trade Pebbles in for a better horse, since the local population will often comment on Pebbles being a rather shitty horse. Which is an arsehole move, but anyway. If you stay loyal to your noble steed, Pebbles will blossom into one of the best, if not the best, horses in the entire game. After riding with her for 35 kilometers in game, you'll get the good old Pebbles perk, which is what boosts her stats through the roof. Next, in the first combat tutorial you are taught that doing a perfect block and riposte is the way to handle combat in this game. However, doing this will munch through your stamina, which when depleted will cause your health bar to be deleted. Rather, utilize things like fainting, clinches and master strikes when you've got them in order to land much more reliable attacks. Coating your weapons and arrows with the Bane Poison Potion will however make any weapon skill you have obsolete. You see, this decoction is described as not being very useful when applied to weapons. It is intended to be used in food. But this is bullshit because when you land an attack on an enemy with a weapon coated with this stuff, it gives them roughly 15 seconds to a minute to say their prayers before biting the dust. But I also understand that many players would rather not use broken mechanics because they do indeed trivialize a lot of the game's combat. So if you'd rather build up your weapon and warfare skills quickly, running around a field and butchering a bunch of farm animals will quickly give you experience with your chosen weapons, since most animals die in one hit and killing stuff instead of just hitting stuff will give you more experience. But for goodness sake, make sure no one sees you. You can also participate in archery contests to quickly boost your strength, agility and marksmanship skills with the added benefit of making money out of it. But if you really want to boost the rate at which you gain experience, level up your alchemy to level 16 and grab the Secret of Secrets perk and aim to brew the highest quality of the Fox potion called Henry's Fox. This nifty little drink increases your experience gain by 50% for 2 entire in-game days. Alright, before we go further, let's go back a bit. And by back I mean to the beginning of the game. A lot of people would have missed this during their first and possibly even second playthrough. You can actually go into the cave behind the horse pen where you had your combat tutorial and store your groschen there. Also, don't remove the dice. After the prologue, you'll be able to go back and grab all of your starting money, a whopping 1403 groschen, as well as the dice. Fun fact, the amount of money you start the game with is the same number as the year the game takes place in. Sadly, you cannot store your armor in the chest, but you can get it back much later during a story mission. Alright, we're getting to the good stuff. Now I would like to address the fact that I could not figure out an order for the rest of the script so that it flows together seamlessly, so I'm just gonna list them off and you lot can just pretend that I am Shakespeare.
When I look at you, well, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
You can throw rocks at nests to knock them down. Seems stupid, I know, but I'm sure many of you have lost arrows or bolts because a nest decided to take a trip down the hill before you could catch up to it. Throwing rocks doesn't necessarily stop the nest from buggering off, but it does save you one of your hundreds of arrows that you hold on to just in case they are needed. It takes a bit of practice, but who cares. You can whistle to lure enemies or guards to you, and not the loud obnoxious whistle you do when you need your horse, no. When crouched, Henry will do a soft little whistle with the same input you use for your horse, which will bring someone over to where you are. You also don't need to know a potion's recipe in order to brew it. If you simply have access to Google and you have the right ingredients, you can brew any potion, which will also, upon completion, gift you with the recipe. When trying to forge the highest quality of weapons, you don't actually need to follow the rules that you are taught in the beginning of the game. All you really need to do is make sure that you hammer in rhythm with Henry's whistling and that you never hit the same spot twice in a row. You don't even need to flip the blade. This makes it much easier to stay in rhythm, and it also makes things quite a bit quicker. I'll give you an example.
I've been buying this spot for a long time. Well, this one's gonna need some more work. Looks like it's almost done. Oh, finally.
Also, you don't need blacksmithing materials in your inventory to craft weapons. I don't know why it took me this long to figure this out. Simply go over to your chest, store the materials in there, and lo and behold, you still have access to them for crafting. Just note this does not apply for alchemy ingredients. Speaking of, drying out any fresh herbs will make their quality stay at 100 indefinitely. However, this also lowers your potion quality, keeping you from brewing the highest tier of potion. To work around this, grab the first Secrets of Equilibrium perk, which should be more than enough to mitigate the quality drop of dried herbs. When you coat a weapon with poison and for whatever reason don't want it there anymore, you can simply sharpen or repair the weapon and the poison effect will be removed. Pickpocketing one item at a time will give you more experience in the thief skill as opposed to cleaning out an entire inventory. Now, while you're sneaking around, the temptation to start an all-out fight to the death might come over you. So if you want to get as much as possible out of that temptation, sneak up or walk up to an unsuspecting victim with your weapon drawn, hold block and then attack. This initiates a stabbing attack and works best with swords and when aiming for the head. If you want to get rid of the stolen status of an item, immediately sell it to a vendor and buy it back. Not entirely sure why someone would want to do this, since you'll have to pay for it anyway, which you could have done from the start, but hey, it's there and it's easily missed. While hunting, if there are no animals to be found, just stand on a hunting spot, wait a few hours and the animals will spawn in around you. Lastly, you can feed Pebbles or any other horse by dropping food from your inventory in front of them. Now this doesn't sound all that useful, but say you're in the early stages of the game, just got your horse back and you're looking to kit her out properly, and say you come across a horse with very nice gear. What will happen if you poison your food and feed it to said horse? That unfortunately was all the tips I have for you today. I had a lot of fun testing all of these out, but if I missed anything important, please feel free to let me know. I won't bite your head off. I just want to touch on the starting money tip. I've seen some people say that the money gets less the longer you wait. I personally never found that to be the case, and I tested this 3 times to be sure. All 3 times I had the full 1,413 groschen waiting for me there. Maybe I missed something, but I'm not sure. Anyway, thanks for watching and I hope you enjoyed this video and that you found it helpful. Let me know what other KCD related content you'd like to see. Until next time, stay safe and may God be with you all.